Press, you know.
Okay, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Today I'll be interviewing the one and only Mr. Jack Warner. I'm so happy to finally get to interview this guy. So, Mr. Jack Warner, good afternoon. How are you today?
Good afternoon, Miss. I'm very fine. But let me begin by saying, on behalf of the People's Partnership Government of Trinidad and Tobago, it's my esteemed pleasure to be a part of this project, of course.
Thank you, sir. Okay, but wait, but you're not Jack Warner. You're an impersonator. What is this?
Also, you might think, Miss. Now, what you see in papers and on platforms and in television is merely my stunt double. What you have before you is the real deal.
Okay, so you're the
Thank you
real.
very much.
All right,
Shall we proceed?
Yes.
Okay.
We can proceed, sir. Okay, so since he's your real person, you're the stunt, and you're not the stunt double, I want to ask you something. So how did Mr. Jack Warner become an impersonator?
You see, it started many moons ago, long before when Jesus was a little boy, as you might say. You know, it just grew on me. The talent just developed, and you know, it's a distinct characteristic. Of course, I have a knack for latching on to distinct characteristics and mannerisms, both physical, as you might see with my esteemed friend, my good friend, Ian Allen, of course, and of course, in some cases, like myself, it's just vocal, and it's easy to take to latch on to that distinct characteristic and just build on it with research.
Okay, Mr. Jack Warner, so how did you get into the field of acting? How did you get into the field of acting, Mr. Jack?
You see, basically, the world is a stage. Of course, being on platforms and being in public, I just had a knack for speaking up publicly and always being the focal point. Now, of course, you can tell by my dress and whatever what you see in the media. I'm always one that has a sense for I wouldn't say flamboyance, because you know some people might misread what I'm saying. You know, it's just a knack for individuality and to go against the grain, and of course go against stereotypes.
Okay, so Mr. Warner, can you tell us a bit about your early experience in the field of acting, doing this impersonating thing?
Of course, it all began in Presidential College, San Fernando. Of course, under the tutelage of the esteemed musical greats in Trinidad and Tobago, Mr. and Mrs. Anthony and Cynthia Lima, doing their musicals from since Form 1 back in 1991 and all the way up until Sixth Form in 98. I've been doing musicals with them. Of course, there's music festival as well. I've been doing that with the choirs, the junior choir, the boys junior choir, the men's senior choir, and of course the mixed choir, the senior mixed choirs. That is post presscon, because before the choirs were known as presscon, and you know, because we have been all inclusive and we include students from other schools, so we changed it to the mixed choir.
Okay then, so then performing and impersonating has always been a passion that you had then?
That's right. Ever since I was a little boy.
Okay, so can you tell us a bit about your first experience on the big stage? When you came out, when you actually gave Jack Warner the impersonating thing and you came out?
Who are you talking to right now? You're talking to Jack, or you want to talk to Andrew Friday?
I want to talk to Jack. Jack,
Okay,
when Jack
course.
came out, Jack.
Of course, you're talking about my political career back in 2001, when I first took the stage, speaking out for the UNC and Ambassador Pandey and these guys. Or are you talking about when I made my big break with Randy Glasgow?
Randy Glasgow.
Okay. Randy Glasgow began back in December 2011. I was doing a broadcasting training under Holly T. That's Holly Thomas for you younger folks who might not remember. Of course, and during that course, the class, only a class of 10 persons, and so be it to say, I was considered top of class, of course. And after class, we would go to opposite CNMG by this place, you know, a popular lineman spot. And it was there that I met the likes of the Saint, Daryl Mendoza, and of course other performers and other artists, such as Iwa George and Pelf we patched and these guys, and they in turn they saw my potential, and they introduced me to Randy Glasgow. So after Randy Glasgow saw me one night, 2 nights, 3 nights, on the third night, which was a week between Christmas and New Year's, he asked me for my contact information. Whereupon I furnished him with such. Furnished, that's a big word, right? You know? I furnished him with such, and he just called me a week after and said, come in the studio, we want to record a couple ads. And from there, it's just been history in the making.
Okay, great. So what was the crowd response the first time you were on the stage? What was their response to you?
They were really expecting my stunt double, of course. But when they saw me, and from the moment I spoke, every single word, they were wrapped. They were wrapped. That's a big word, right? So it's small, but it's still a big word. And they enjoyed every moment of it, from the first word to the ask your mother, and of course the what have you, and that's a big word. They love it. They love it.
Okay, so how did you feel?
Of course, I always like to please my constituents. So wherever I go, it gives me a sense of fulfillment. People get the money's worth, and that's what I'm all about. $1 for me means, you know, millions for many. And that's how I think.
Okay then. So what do you like best about performing or impersonating?
Well, really, the thrill is the crowd response, and sometimes I have been in front of small crowds, right? And even if it's a crowd of a room of 10 people or a room of 10,000, it matters not to me. Once I get the response out of the crowd that I set out to get, I am fulfilled. I am fulfilled.
Okay, great. So what do you like least about performing or impersonating?
What I like least about it is when inappropriate requests are made of me. You know, everywhere I go, someone say, look, this is Jack Warner. Look, talk like Jack for them. Talk like Jack for them. And they demand it of me. And I say the only person who can demand something of Jack Warner is the person that pays Jack Warner. Of course. That's what I don't like about it. People feel that because you're in the public eye so much, that you are their personal puppets. And especially my friends. I have to tell my friends and family at times. I say, no. I like to do it. It must come from within me, not from without. So I prefer to do it of my own volition than to have someone tell me what to do. Like I tell a lot of people a lot of times, when I want your opinion, I'll give it to you.
Okay then. So based on what you said, do you ever worry about whether people like you for the real you or because you are impersonating a celebrity?
Well, you see, my friends, my close friends and my family, they like me for me first. And these are people that know of me even before the Jack Warner days, not the Johnny Come Latelys and so forth. You know, especially since, you know, this is Jack Warner. Of course, I'm an open personality. I'm approachable. I always believe myself to be approachable. But however, I take notice of the ones who like me for me and not as Jack Warner.
Okay then, great. So in your experience, what do you feel makes someone successful in this industry?
Well, as I've told, I've been in interviews before. I've told Fazil Mohammed, I've told him the key is to always stay one step ahead, even of yourself. Your greatest challenge is yourself. Your greatest competition is yourself. You always look at your last performance and you see how you can better that. So you must keep researching. And I've told them, Trinidad and Tobago is full of talent, full of untapped talent. So in as much as people might tell me that I am the best, with all respect to my friend Gary Jagu, whilst people might tell me I'm the best, there's always someone out there who has not been, who is yet to be discovered, who might be better than me. So I'm always striving to be better than myself. So that's the key. Always, as you know, what's the old adage about a sharp axe versus a dull axe, of course, you always have to keep sharpening that axe. And you stay ahead.
Okay, so which other sharp axe do you enjoy working with?
I love your play on words. Axe, we're talking about sharpening the axe as in A-X-E or A-X, depending on whether you're playing Scrabble or not. And of course, there's the axe as in A-C-T-S. Of course, my good friend Ian Allen can tell you about that as well.
Okay,
that's another act of mine.
So we're going to meet him in a while. So which one of your work are you most proud of?
You see, it's the work that I'm doing right now. I mean, I've been calling on Red 96. I'm a frequent caller on the radio. And of course, people enjoy it. And now they can put a face to the voice. And I'm always proud of when people open their eyes upon realization that you are Jack Warner, and they say, look, Jack Warner, and squeals of excitement and whatnot, especially from the ladies. But I'm married. I don't have my ring with me, but it's close by.
Okay, then, Mr. Married Man, what was your most challenging role?
You see, years ago, back in 2001, I used to do Patrick Manning, Basir Pandey. Of course, I can do other accents. I can do international accents. I can do some European accents. And I can do, of course, some Asian accents. And, of course, American accents, North American accents, of course. And, well, one of the most challenging, actually, was Mr. Pandey. Very challenging, Mr. Pandey. You know, and I'm always looking for fresh acts. But fortunately for me, unfortunately for Mr. Pandey, he's no longer relevant in politics. So people, that role would not sell. It does not have what's the word? Continuity, you know, in it. So that was a difficult role. But thankfully, I don't have to push myself at this point in time, this present point in time, to reciprocate that role.
Okay then, so thank you, Mr. Jack Warner. I would like you to please now introduce us to your friend. You told us you had a friend, Mr. Ian Allen. Is your close friend?
That's right. Thank you very much, Jack Warner. Jack Warner, I love you. That's my friend. Don't hurt your head.
Okay, so Mr. Ian Allen, I'd like to find out, when was the last time you told a lie?
I tell no lies. It's all the truth. We're always in the public eye, and there are no lies on the camera, because we can always come to get you.
Okay, so Mr. Allen, do people think you're a Mako?
They could call me a Mako. They could call me fast. They could call me like I'm living in a corner house. Let them talk. What I am doing is merely shining a light in the shadows. And if you want to reside in the shadows, you're bound to get light up.
Okay. So, Mr. Allen, does all comedy spring from the truth?
Of course. As my friend Jack Warner says, life is a stage. So if you're on the stage, if you want to jump in distance, you better be prepared for the wetting. No matter what you do, I will wet you. And it will be wetting after wetting after wetting.
Okay, Mr. Allen, is it true that all comics had a miserable childhood?
Of course not. They might say I grew up with a golden spoon in my mouth. I had it good, everything nice. But of course, it's not a disturbed childhood, it's just real. We all have our own experiences. And however you choose to look at it, that's up to you. But I just took my experiences, called them as real, not bad, not good, just real. It's a part of life.
Okay, Mr. Allen, do you believe there's intelligent life on this earth? Besides you, that is.
And my friend Jack Warner, I can count them on my hands and my toes. We could start with Ramparas, Dave Budusing, Sharon, We could start with Lala, the busiest lawyer in Trinidad and Tobago. Lala, I love you. Of course, there's my director, and Black Hawk, of course, my TV6 crew, and of course, the management of TV6, Dominic Kalipasad, a good man. And we could go on and on and on. Lots of intelligent life here. And right here in Trinidad and Tobago, not just the world, but Trinidad and Tobago have intelligent life. Don't hurt your head.
Okay, so which public figure makes your job as a comic easier?
Jack Warner, of course.
Okay, it's been said that comics have inferiority complexes. Is that true or false?
False. Right? I know I pause. I might pause, but I pause for effect. Eh? You like that? You like that? I pause for effect.
How do you deal with telling a stale joke?
The trick to telling a stale joke is to move on. You must have a cover. You must have something. You must have a backup plan. A backup plan. That's what I always move with. If you don't see me with my bulletproof vest, I have Sergeant Alexander and his band of merry officers. Sergeant Alexander, I love you.
Okay, Mr. Allen, do you ever get stage fright when you're out there bringing in all the criminals?
At all. The hunt is on. It's a jungle out there. And it's either kill or be killed. You're either the predator or the prey. And I am the predator of the predators. You know what an apex predator is? That is Ian Allen. All the predators are coming out for you and are going to hurt you up and wet you and light you up. Don't hurt your head.
Okay, Mr. Allen, so which one of these apex predators would you be?
Of course, I myself, the apex predator, is the predator that takes without any remorse. And once you be a predator and you prey on the innocent, I, as an apex predator, I will prey on you. You, the predators, I will prey on you with no remorse. And I will put you out there for the long arm of the law to deal with you.
So, Mr. Allen, other than this interview, what's the stupidest thing you've ever agreed to do?
That's a very hard question. A very, very hard question. Ask me another. It doesn't come to mind right now.
Okay, so right now, Mr. Ian Allen, I would like to meet the man behind Mr. Jack Warner and Mr. Allen. So I'd like to meet the Mr. Andrews Fries Friday.
Okay. Right. In truth and in actuality, it's Andrew Fries Friday. Right? Andrew Alden Friday.
Alden Friday.
Right? That's right, Alden Friday. Director, keep the camera steady now, man.
So why Fries?
Well, Fries, because that was one of my nicknames. I go by nicknames like Drews, Fries, and Fries just stuck, you know, because it will stay in the memory of people, you know. Like, if I must have a persona out there, I just like Fries, you know. Everybody say, hey, Fries, what's going on, you know. Small fries, big fries, that's all right, just Fries.
Okay, then, so are you a perfectionist?
No, I wouldn't say I'm a perfectionist, because sometimes it's always been rumored that, you know, if you strive for perfection all the time, you tend to get frustrated a lot. And I always like to try and, you know, try to take on as little stress as possible. I mean, you know, but this is life. You'll always have things that stress you out and whatnot. But a perfectionist, no. Okay. Not a perfectionist.
So do you persevere with your interests?
Of course. It's these many years since I started this thing back in 1991. So we could say 20 years later,
Top of the game.
you know, stuff happening.
Okay, so are you an avid reader?
Of course. Love to read. Stephen King. I recommend it for anyone.
Do you have a vivid imagination?
Of course. Back in secondary school, I really started, you know, like writing stories, but more adventure stories and that sort of thing. I'm not a lyricist in terms of that I can write songs or whatever, you know, but I love to write stories.
Okay, so do you set high standards for yourself when writing these stories, or doing anything that you do with the Ian Allen and the Jack Warner, or any other thing that you set out to do? Do you set your standards high?
Yes, of course. As I've said, the challenge, your greatest challenge is yourself, your greatest competition is yourself, so you always have to keep bettering yourself. Just doing better than your last performance, doing better than the last thing you've written, doing better than the last thing you've done. You know, so of course I keep setting those standards and I keep trying to raise the bar for myself.
Okay, so do you have a good long-term memory?
Yes, yes.
Okay, are you deeply compassionate, or should I ask your wife?
Well, yes, I am. I am deeply compassionate. I am deeply compassionate. I turn it on when needs be. I take it down when needs be. You know, of course. And yeah, she would vouch for that.
Okay. Do you have an excellent sense of humor? Do you think so? Because people may think you do with the impersonations and things, but do you think you have excellent sense of humor?
It's still no, not excellent, not excellent, because I did some training with Raymond Chukong, and of course, you know, with my training from him and seeing Larry Joseph do it, seeing Sprangalang do it, seeing Darren Mendoza, the Saint do it, you know, it's really about timing, and you know, Randy Glasgow is not a comedian per se that he could take the stage himself, but he knows good comedy. I think Randy Glasgow, the names that I've called, Randy Glasgow, Raymond Chukong, and of course Darren Mendoza and Larry Joseph, have excellent sense of humor, because it's really about timing. Comedy is timing. That's what Raymond always used to say. Comedy is timing, and once you have that timing down, you know, people would say, "Hey, you're really good at this. You're excellent," or whatnot. But I wouldn't say I'm excellent yet, because I'm still learning.
Okay, so are you a keen observer?
Yes, of course, because I wouldn't be able to get certain things down. It's constant research, so you always have to be, you know, looking out for these certain things and stuff to add, and you know, to keep bettering yourself. So of course you must have strong powers of observation.
Are you fascinated by words as your impersonator, Mr. Jack Warner, is? I have to say impersonator because you said.
Very. Jack Warner is a learned man. And what people didn't realize with Jack Warner, I have actually added stuff to the character that is Jack Warner, because Jack Warner, yes, he's a learned man, and he deals with, you know, the majority of people that he would interact with, of average intelligence, we might say, you know, if I may use such a strong term, you know, and every now and again Jack would use certain big words, as we might say, and I just latched onto that, and I say, you know, people do realize, hey, Jack does use a big words, and hey, look, he use a big word there, he use a big word there. No, I in turn just added to that by saying, that's a big word, write it down, and then continue with my speech, you know, because a lot of people, after a while, they actually thought that Jack used to say that, and I said, no, Jack doesn't say that. I, as Jack, say that. You know, a lot of people thought that.
I did as well.
You know, so I am indeed fascinated by big words, and I love since I was in primary school, I had a knack for, you know, grammar and English and literature and stuff. So I love words. I just love playing with words.
So do you also have this love for mathematics?
Well, my 8 to 4 is accounting. You know, that's my field of study. You know, so yeah, I love to play with numbers as well.
Okay, so are you highly sensitive?
I would say yes. I would say yes, but not in the strictly emotional sense. You know, my father grew me up to always be aware of his surroundings and that sort of thing. You know, so I might pick up on certain things, you know, that other people might not pick up on. You know, so that's that. You know, it ties into the powers of observation sort of thing, and I always try to, you know, use my powers of observation to the betterment of those in my surroundings as well.
Okay, so do you feel driven by your superb creativity?
Yes, very much so. Very much so.
Okay, so do you learn new things rapidly?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Because I was working on this Ian Allen, and during Carnival, when we were doing the alternative comedy shows, the Carnival comedy shows, I got the idea. I say, Randy, you know who we should do next? Ian Allen. Before something happened to him or whatever, and then, and lo and behold, something did happen to him, but it just made Ian Allen bigger. And the night that Ian Allen was arrested, I jumped on the phone and say, Randy, Ian Allen, ting, like he getting arrested. Shows, boy, shows. I'm going to do this thing. I'm ready. And Randy got Wendell Etienne, who's a great comedian as well, and he's very creative. Wendell Etienne wrote a script in 1 week, and I had to get the Ian Allen down in 2 weeks. So hey, it was great. So fast learner, yes.
Okay then, so were you advanced developmentally in your childhood?
In some aspects, and of course in other aspects, not so much. I would say, like, in terms of the public speaking and playing to crowds and being the focal point of being in the limelight. Yeah, since I was small, I always had a knack for that, because I've always been outspoken. I've been chosen to be class prefect, and even in primary school I was chosen to be spokesman for the class. Whenever we wanted to interact with our teacher or make any requests, people would say, well, Andrew, you talk or whatever. And then at my standard 5 graduation, primary school graduation, I was the valedictorian. I did the valedictory speech. Valedictory, that's a big word, right? So it just grew from there.
Okay, so then that could say you were outspoken, you were very charismatic, and then that falls over to the two personalities you chose,
That's
Mr.
right.
Jack Warner
That's right.
and
That's
Mr.
right.
Ian Allen.
That's right.
So I'll just like to say thank you, firstly, to Mr. Andrew,
Thank you very
then
much.
to Mr. Jack Warner,
Thank you very much, Miss.
and of course to our beloved Mr. Ian Allen.
Darling, I love you. Oh, dear.
Thank you so much for doing this interview, and I'm hoping that we'll see you again at 6 o'clock tonight.
Of course. I will be there. Sergeant Alexander will be there. Blackhawk will be there. The director will be there. Omlala will be there. And of course, you, Trinidad and Tobago, will be there.
And Mr. Jack Warner, we'll see you again maybe on the next to Mrs. your one and only Prime Minister.
Of course, next to Kamala, next to my wife, next to the co-leaders of the partnership. Of course, I'm there. Anywhere there's a problem, Jack will be there.
Okay then, thank you, sir, and do have a good afternoon.
Thank you very much.